Good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to what unpacks the morning with a very amazing topic, what we have with the visionary leaders here from connected television space. So thank you, Vikram, Saurabh, Abbhishek, Gaurav, and Prabhvir to be here. So from cable TV to streaming and now to connected television. Today's panel with an amazing topic, niche streaming, big impact. Unites the experts from various different categories of business, starting from publishers to brands. Then we have got platforms, and then to agencies. So we are going to be talking more on in terms of how CTV is revolutionizing the targeted campaigns and the deliveries and how the content is going to be delivered and what's the new space the content is going to be delivered within the CTV space. So I'm going to make it a bit generic first, and one thing what excites me the most is CTV as of now in India is seen as a bridge between traditional TVs and now connected to digital and its precision, right? What are your thoughts about the space or the targeted campaigns or targeted deliveries being impacted in India, and what do you think how it's going to happen in the next 5 years? So I think I'll start with Vikram.
Hi guys, good morning. I hope is this the first panel for the day?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, perfect. So I hope it turns out to be a good one for all of you. My name is Vikram Bhayana and I head marketing for Bajaj Allianz General. I basically sell insurance. Now, to his question, I think the biggest benefit that a CTV, especially for a category like insurance, which is considered very traditional, but making solid waves, and I'm sure in the next 40 minutes, I'll try and convince you and tell you how incredible the journey of insurance is today and how important it is today. I think the biggest benefit it can throw is the enhanced precision that any campaign through a CTV can throw at you. Specifically for somebody like an insurer, it can help me identify the who, the what, and the why. I will also, with that, and it doesn't stop at that, I will also get data beyond that that will help me understand if it really made sense, if it really fit in the right bill. It'll help me make my ads a lot more frugal, because insurance, like I said, not many people are consuming. And I love to come in these platforms because when I see a sea of people, I know for a fact that the room is full of underinsured people. Not because they don't want to buy, but because of lack of understanding or just a feeler. I was talking to Gaurav and discussing that. The typical mindset कि मुझे कुछ नहीं होगा is where insurance companies really come in and try and tell you. So I think this, as a platform, we will get in their homes. And once we do that, I think the ability to help people understand and learn the concept will be very important. So that's how I see it.
Saurabh, how about your thoughts?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Saurabh. I lead integral ad science, not services, for India market. For CTV, I think we all are seeing this changing habits in TV viewership. We have seen increasing internet, increase in penetration of CTV devices, wide variety of available content. And I think all this has brought CTV, connected TV to the forefront. I was reading somewhere the projected numbers for 2025. By end of 2025, it's almost 60 million devices of CTV and around 112 individual people who will be watching CTV. And why not? It really helps brands and users in an equal way if we compare it to the linear TV. For example, for brands and advertisers, it gives high level of targeting opportunities, better precision in targeting, better measurement, and better ROI. And if we see this from the perspective of users, it gives them flexibility of content consumption. There's a shift in demand of the type of the content. There's demand of on-demand content, next-gen content, that's increasing, and it's giving flexibility to the users to watch that anytime, wherever they want. And also there's a rise of this ad-supported formats. It helps users because obviously it gives them more economical way of consuming content first. And then it also helps brands because CTV offers high level of completion rates and high level of viewability if we compare to industry standards. So I definitely feel that in the next 5 years, it's gonna be, maybe it crosses the linear TV viewership for the next 5 years, so yeah.
Thank you. Abhishek?
Thanks, sir. Valid points, both of you all. And if I may, I think we should all get together and make a motion for a complete rebrand of the term CTV. It's not connected TV. I think we should all just go out and say it's precision TV. It's smart TV, right? And I think I'll just expound on what these gentlemen have said. We as an economy, we move on how the culture moves, right? And consumers, they pivot to what cultural, roads change. Smart TV, precision TV is one such example on how all of us were forced into consuming content in such a format, right? And I think that has given the emergence of a completely new way of reaching out to consumers. The another point is our consumer journeys, right? You talked about insurance. The consumer journeys are all non-linear right now. And wherever we have addressable junctions for us to create those moments, right, we should do that. And this space, this medium offers the most, efficient as well as in terms of efficacy. It provides the best suited formats, placements, ROI, you talk about it. And I think we tend to make things complex sometimes. Me and Prab, we were just talking earlier, and we ran certain other panels earlier as well. We're just talking about the CPG categories, right? So, it's always a reach frequency equation. Understandably, yes, because that's how the nature of the business is, and that's how the marketing equations were written. But what about my captive audience? What about my audience which is absolutely in market intent? And what about those very strong targetable signals, right? So I think let's not make it too complex in terms of figuring out ROIs across. Let's just make it a little more intuitive in terms of knowing who my consumer is and creating that best experience and moment for him or her to be targeted.
I think fairly good insights here from Abhishek. Abhishek, if I may ask you, if you would have to change or implement something within the ecosystem of connected television or smart televisions, like how you said, right? What would that be? If you could implement one change which currently doesn't exist.
Honestly, see, I'm not in a position to affect any change right now, but I'll tell you what we've been doing as agency partners for a lot of our brands is, because this medium has, for the lack of a better word, fragmented extremely quickly in the last 2.5, 3 years. I would urge all of you all brands as well as my fellow agency colleagues to work on CTV principles, right? So CTV is OEM, CTV is content, CTV is technology. So it's become a little fragmented. So work through the tiers and then try and see on how you can best work out the most efficient supply with the most effective storytelling format.
Got it. Which is more to do with the content part of it, like how the content is generated and passed to the users. Right, I think fairly good. So since we're talking about the content and we have Gaurav here from NDTV who's like day in and day out generating content, hosting content, right? So Gaurav, what are your thoughts about it?
See, from a CTV point of view, if I'll take the point that Abhishek mentioned about, sometimes a lot of us make things complicated, right?
Yeah.
And essentially when, as a business, you look at the addressable market size, similarly from a marketing point of view, you would see where is my cohort available, right? You want an engaged audience to take your brand and business to, right? So CTV as a device, it's sort of increasing, so it becomes a no-brainer from that sense. And essentially, when you look at the overall media space, CTV technically is a device, right? It's not the media. We talk about content that's being served. NDTV is a platform that gives you content. We don't see ourselves as a platform, right? Alone. It's about the power of journalism and the power of storytelling and the content that you do. But here, people are actually coming to that device to consume content, and that changes the game a lot more than what we've sort of engaged with previously. So if you keep it simple, wherever the cohorts are, and in this case, everybody spoke about precision targeting. So you can take the best of both the worlds from a marketing point of view, and use that platform. From a publisher point of view, and being the marketer at a publisher point of view, I understand both the sides, right? From a publisher point of view, you of course need to cater content that works best for that format. Unfortunately, right now, the entire industry is not geared up towards that. Everybody is sort of making changes or adding layers to their business to make the most of that platform, which in the last few years has grown exponentially, right? And Prabh is going to, I'm assuming, talk a lot more about that. But, the linear business is now getting supplemented a lot with CTV. Otherwise, it was linear plus digital. Now, CTV comes in as a big filler in the middle. So I think it's going to change few things here and there. From a content point of view, I don't think it'll change the DNA of the content creators per se. You can create different content. For example, if I was movie creator, I would look at maybe a different kind of movie that I would release in theater versus CTV versus digital versus OTT, etc., depending on the audience. But when you look at a news platform, you have to be true to journalism. The certain periphery content could be different. You might add another couple of fast channels that go on CTV platforms only targeting that audience. But your core DNA as a brand, as a content creator, might not change for a lot of people like us. We'll still stay true, but see what works for that audience best, keeping it absolutely simple and not making it complicated.
Fair. I'm going to move to Prabh here. I think one of the first movers in India, the early adapters, I would say, back in 2020, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, 2020, right? So Samsung. How have you encountered the entire space from converting into a traditional TV to moving into like more streaming television or a smart television, digital precision? And how do you see the space evolving in the next 5 years? And if you would have to implement something which, and I'm sure that you're good with implementations of new thoughts here. So implement something with respect to technology, I would ask, technology or how the content is specifically delivered.
Okay.
What would that be?
Okay. Before I answer your question, Karan, and thanks for staying awake. I know you came back 3 o'clock last night. How many people in this room are from agencies? If you can just raise your hands. Don't worry, I won't come chasing for an hour after this. And how many people in this room are marketers? A few. And sellers, maybe working at different companies, sellers here? Yeah, quite a few sellers, okay. Competition is maybe out there. Let me break it down for you. You asked me a bunch of questions in that paragraph. 2020, we honestly did not want to call it CTV, but we all know when we go to the industry, people say, kuch naya dikhao. So show me something new. And therefore, the CTV term was coined, or addressable TV was coined, precision TV was coined. But from our lens as a hardware company, the device is designed to give you an experience of content. And when we say experience of content is why you have 4K TV, why you have 2K TV, why you have televisions which have color saturations, etc. So the purpose of the device is to give you a more immersive and uninterrupted viewing experience of the content of your choice. That could be news, that could be a movie, and that can also be an advertisement or a creative that is playing out on that particular device itself. So when we started, our underlying premise was, and I've been a digital practitioner for a little over 20 years now, where just like many of us, we have always undersold TV. And we kept on pitching, audiences are moving to digital platforms. There are 700 million people on the internet. There are 200 million people on the TV. TV is not addressable, you do not know who's watching, there's so much wastage and so on and so forth. So one of the first things we did was, because as a hardware company, we knew what was happening on the device, we started to surface device behaviors, which is what is actually happening when the TV is switched on. Are people watching user-generated content? Are people watching broadcast TV? Are people watching, content on a different OTT application? Because these insights will help advertisers understand how is that device usage changing vis-a-vis the statement which was being passed back in 2020-21 that, oh, we have caught cutters, we have caught nevers, etc. Fast forward, as we went down talking to agencies in 21, 22, and specifically in the agency ecosystem, and we spoke to a lot of these young planners, specifically the digital guys, a lot of people said that we don't watch TV. When we further probed them that where do you watch content uninterrupted, it turned out to be the big screen. So the 20 years old to the 30-year-old that we interact today does not think TV as we have learned TV. They think of that as Netflix, they think of that as Prime, they think of that as YouTube, they think of that at Hotstar. So if you say, hey, where do you binge watch? They say, I binge watch on Netflix. And I say, which device do you binge watch? It turns out to be a TV. It's just that for the agency folks specifically, the younger kids, they don't understand TV the way we understand TV. So they've migrated to what we used to call Star TV and Star Sports. For them, it is Netflix, YouTube, Prime, Hotstar, JioStar, whatever that might be, so on and so forth. And because we have these insights coming in from the device, we started to take it back to our agency partners and advertisers. And our premise has been that, hey, we all know the device is changing from being a unidimensional device to a bidirectional device, which means now we can get intelligence back from the TV into marketing plans. Look at what this data set looks like and then build on it. We unfortunately, to Vikram's point, do not have any viewership data. What we have is, and this is something we are very careful of, whether it's IAS, Double Verify, any measurement platform, we are very careful in claiming of who is watching, because we do not know who's watching the TV. And if you're a hardcore digital practitioner, it's ingrained in your head that you're multitasking when you're watching TV. So what we're able to obviously surface is on what all devices we saw what kind of content. Like this time last year, we had the Ayodhya temple inauguration, and that by far was the most watched event across Samsung TV in India. So our intent has been on surfacing these insights which were not historically available, and how does that play into classical media matrices that all of us are comfortable with. Content comes subsequent to that particular journey. Where do we see this migrating toward? On the device itself, if you guys have seen CES a couple of days ago, the device itself is getting better than just delivering content. The TV as a device is now used for health. A lot of people who use a smartwatch or have a smart fridge or have a smart AC, so on and so forth, use the TV as a control device for the entire household. People who are in health, they use it for exercise, either as yoga or Pilates or aerobics. That's also been used for. Similarly, gaming is unheard of because largely gaming in India is casual games. You have play for money games, and then you have PC games. But we have a very fast emerging category of console games. So gaming has become very, very prevalent in the TV ecosystem. And as we're progressing, I think the underlying premise of a device still remains, how do I show you what is best to be experienced on this large screen? So whether it's NDTV, it's going to be all about content recommendation, it's going to be all about discoverability, what do I watch next on my device? Because a lot of us here will know that when they switch on the TV, between all the apps, they do not know what they want to watch. And a lot of time they get frustrated and switch it off and go back to their phones. So one of the big things the TV hardware ecosystem is trying to solve is, how do we make sure that when you switch on the TV, we're able to showcase to you what is trending and what is relevant for you to watch, and therefore you can watch it. Not much is going to change, honestly, in the next 5 years. It's going to be very, very small changes, because think of it, we're trying to influence a user which is habitual of using that device in a certain way. Like one thing we know for a fact is people don't want to shop on their TVs. If you're watching an IPL match, you don't want to leave the IPL match and go to a browser. Similarly, if you're binge watching, you don't want to take a break in between and do something else. So no significant changes, but the device will evolve to a level where the frustration today at a user level, which is what do I watch next, will become far more quicker and better. It has gone from 7 minutes of discovery time to 11 minutes last year, and we want to bring that 11 minutes down to a 4 to 5 minutes before you decide what you want to watch next. For the advertising ecosystem, I think there is going to be more transparency and interconnections. I mean, measurement is a big part from the agency ecosystem that we have. So we do anticipate connecting all the dots so that when you advertise with us, you can connect was it the same user who you also engage with on Google or Meta or on Amazon or any other platform, so you can measure your advertising spend slightly more holistically than what it is today or what it was yesterday. So small changes, and for the agency folks, I think they need to understand that it is the device which is different and the application ecosystem which is different, and it's just evolving as we speak every passing moment.
Fair enough. I think last 4.5 years of your experience within the streaming television or the connected television, right? So what is that one gap, what you see from a measurement standpoint, which is with respect to like a demand from the advertisers and the agencies, and let's say the device is not capable enough or the technology is not there yet to make that happen?
So I'll break it down for you. So if I talk to a traditional TV planner or traditional TV teams, they are in love with what we do because we're able to surface a lot of insights they were not able to get historically, or they would have to wait for a lot of time to go by before a campaign ends, and they could share that with that respective advertiser. So those guys are super happy with what we do. The guys where we had problems with or we have gaps with are the digital ecosystem. We don't have clicks, unfortunately, on the TV, and there is no conversion, because there's no destination I can take you through as I can take you through on the phone, etc.
Unless the QR is being scanned.
Yeah, QR code is also a separate debate altogether. Depending on category, the scan rates can go from 5% to 20%.
Right.
And even those scan rates, the conversion rates vary quite significantly. So where we have been struggling, and this remains an ongoing problem, is that how do we connect performance spends to connected TV? And there isn't one simple, straight answer today. And speaking to my friends in the US and Europe, this will probably continue to plague us for some time, till the time the ecosystem understands that this device behaves completely differently. And we'll have to measure it completely different from what we have been measuring every other platform. So if you are a true marketing practitioner, and I'm using the word marketing very categorically, TV helps influence every specific important brand metric, which is favorability, recall of your brand, color scheme of your brand, your tagline of your brand, etc. All of that is something it delivers. Whether it's connected TV or non-connected TV, it always works. We can't give you clicks.
That's true. So you thought between how agencies are typically buying traditional TV versus streaming TV. This brings me to Abbhishek from an agency. I think you have been like very much involved in terms of planning, buying, and how brands are expecting their media plans to be totally curved out to be liked, right? So CTV as a space is smart TVs for you. So smart TVs as a space is relatively new in India. We are not there like how we are with mobile devices or desktop devices, right? So what are the key challenges you face as an agency while working upon a media plan or a grid, and how do you see a right fitment of a CTV or a smart TV coming into that media grid, and what's actually being delivered to the brand? Now, like since Prabhvir also mentioned, right, there's no click happening, right? The user is not landing onto the landing page eventually, right? So what are your thoughts about it?
No, I think you raised a very pertinent point, and I think every advertiser partner that we work with, they throw us back with the same kind of questions. And what I spoke earlier also adds on to the fact that this is one place which has become fragmented the most quickest. So I again go back to simple basics, yeah, which is that no medium, no placement works effectively in isolation, right? So everything works in a compounded effect, right? There is a science to it. You call this attribution, assists, whatever. And then there is, if you look at it from a simple intuitive sense, it is consumer journeys, right? Are consumers spending enough time behind 40-plus-inch screens and consuming content? Yes, they are. Is there a way we can target them effectively? Absolutely. The challenge, however, comes in when we have to select technology versus placement versus content. What is it that we are buying? That needs to be answered very specifically when we sit down to plan for it. You get targeting parameters across, inch-wise, demographic, or whatever, cohorts that you get. But the idea is that, let's understand, every single TV that is being shipped today is a smart TV, right? There isn't any non-smart TV right now. So all consumers are automatically pivoting on and the base is increasing. So what you need to be absolutely mindful of is how does it stagger down into your entire plan. The second piece is on how is it that you can make, and that's a challenge, right? How is it that you can make this specific, for a lack of a better word, line item absolutely consistent and as an always on piece, right? Let's just face it, in our economy, TV, what does TV bring? TV brings in trust, right? So any content which is in a larger format, it brings trust. To add to Prabh's point in terms of all the intent metrics, in terms of favorability, in terms of brand association, positive sentiment, net sentiments, so that gets attracted because of the sheer size of the device that's being put in. So, to come back to my last point, which is to make this absolutely an always-on sustainable piece, get the learnings flowed back in. Tech is evolving. We've done fantastic use cases with partners like Prabh, wherein we've used our own first-party, clients' first-party data, and we've effectively enhanced experiences, right? So all of those pieces come in and tie together. It's just that you need to be at it. Nobody, see, we get into that race of displacing funds from this piece and funneling into this piece, right? And we've been, the way that digital planning has evolved, it has always been led by, two strong platforms, and it has become very nomenclaturized, right? So you break the nomenclatures, you see on how your consumer is working through the funnel, and then you start to add on pieces. Test and learn, test and learn, test and learn, till the time something, a great pivot comes from, and it's going to come from, in my sense, it's going to come from an OEM-led trigger only, because that's where the push is happening out.
Yeah.
I mean, you should ask Vikram. I'm going to go. Does he question at the end of the campaign, like how many leads I got on a CTV campaign?
So exactly. So Vikram, your category, insurance, in a diverse economy or a country like India, how do you see CTV space as one of the key areas for you to advertise on? And what kind of a content do you find it so relevant for your set of users? And given my exposure to insurance, I think India is still an evolving and not there yet from insurance as a category, right? Not many Indians, for that matter, are very keen to be insured. So there's a constant learning, knowledge, education, which is to be passed to the Indians and the users by using, let's say, a larger screen perspective. How do you see this space? And definitely I'm going to be addressing Prabh's point, like how are brands making it real from the reality versus expectation standpoint. that 100 rupees went into, let's say, a particular brand advertising, right? And what are we getting back?
Okay, interestingly, the industry is evolved.
Yeah.
Humans aren't, sadly, to understand the importance of insurance. So I can give you a plethora of products that you can buy. So the industry is very, very evolved for today's time and for the future. It's for us to understand if we can get there or not, right? Now, the beauty of CTV is it can easily help me in differentiating between urban audience and the rural audience. Now, that's very important. मूल मंत्र बीमा खरीदने का है पैसा, which is at both corners, right? But the understanding of the product, the intent, the relevance of the product is very different for both audiences. So I think this is something that can help us address that, to have content pertaining to urban and rural. हर जगह सारे products बिक रहे हैं. So ऐसा नहीं है that there are products only for urban, only for rural. Of course, crop is the only exception here, but other than that, all products. You'll be surprised to know that the products that are sold in urban areas probably are sold a lot more in rural. Because वहाँ पर the understanding of the concept has gone up. Because in the urban area, most of us have our company covers and we feel that's sufficient. We have to have more, but in the rural area, that is not the concept. So they understand the purchase intent of insurance very, very high. I think the next is to understand the life cycle, because we've got products from the time you start your job till the time you retire. For today's families who don't want kids, only want pets, we've got pet insurance. All of you are on your phones, we've got cyber insurance. We know when you've done X amount of years in your job, you'll buy a car, there is motor insurance, right? There is PA cover. There are covers that cover all your life cycle moments. It's for you to understand them and buy them, because that's what really, truly matters in the point in time. The last one is very important, the cultural preferences. I think the time in India is here where, of course, English is important, but a lot of people want to understand things in the language that they like to read in, and it's not necessarily English, which is great, because there was a time that अगर आप हिंदी में बात करते you will look down upon, but I think that cycle has come back where people want to read content and understand in their own language. English is there, but by de facto it can't go away, but I think that ability which CTV will bring in will be very, very promising.
Fair. So, Vikram, my
Karan,
next
I'll just add one point here, since you spoke about, from a marketing point of view, eventual matrix in the takeaways, and, while we are talking about digital CTV, TV in all with different slivers, effectively from a marketing point of view, I think people, when they look at the campaigns, they look at what they're getting back from the plan in totality, right? And when that ecosystem sort of comes together, whether it's from a publisher point of view, from agency partners point of view, from platform point of view, from say Vikram's point of view, if he has to invest 100 rupees for a certain outcome, then he would look at, and add me if I'm wrong, from a brand point of view, what's the recall, what's the affinity, etc., and what's the last mile conversion. So, a campaign from a top funnel to a bottom funnel would go and straddle across the different platforms and mediums within the same campaign. So a lot of people who come to NDTV, they want a complete solution. For example, what can we offer on linear, what can we offer through our CTV play, and what can we offer through our digital platforms, whether it's mobile as a device, or laptop as a device, tab as a device, or direct streaming on television, etc. So I think a lot of times we need to see things in totality, whether from a brand point of view or from performance point of view. I don't think most of the campaigns have both of these clubbed together in one campaign itself. But I think that is where, from an industry point of view, we need to look at the entire package.
I totally agree with you, Gaurav, but a lot of times, like I said, like expectations versus reality typically comes in, right? So a larger part of the budget, which always have been like a brand budget, is now moving into performance marketing, because see, everybody loves sales, like everybody loves business, right? So a lot of times the budget typically comes in from one funnel, moves to another funnel, and then the expectation simply comes in, right? So I think it's more crucial for agency partners like IPG, Interactive Avenues, right? And I think they must be implementing a lot of learning and development areas for the team and how it needs to be looked into. So my next question to you, Vikram, is traditional TVs has always been a passive viewing. Now, when we talk about smart television, it's more than passive viewing, right? Now we have got like a lot of interactive formats where we can simply convert a passive viewing into more interactive, engagement-led viewing, right? So what are your thoughts about interactive formats on connected televisions? And have you, as a company, tried it? Did it work out for you? And talking about the QRs, like, does it really work out well for you as a company?
I think so. Insurance is we always at Bajaj Allianz say insurance is a conversational product. We're actually waiting for a world where you wake up and it's a nice sunny day and you say, "Mausam acha hai, let me buy insurance," which is not happening today, right? So it is a conversational product even today. And that's why the majority amount of insurance, even today, is sold through channel partners, offline, right? Agents are true connected TVs. So they're in every home, they're selling insurances. Now that's the true medium through which we are selling. Having said that, because it's a conversational product, features like clickable ads, gamification is something that you can do through CTVs. And the moment you know that a human is connected to a device, which is what Instagrams of the world do, you're scrolling, so you know that it's a great place to be. The moment you have interactive ads or gamified communicable ads that I understand and I'm interacting with, is when you know that there is at least some understanding. And if I go to the end of it, through the end of, let's say, the gamified activity that we've done, I know that there has been an understanding. And the whole QR code bit, I'm not sure if you will see an end-to-end sale through it, because insurance buying is a very complex process, especially health insurance. It's not one click and you get it. There are some do's and don'ts, right? So I think to understand that, it may not be an end-to-end to the point that he made, but at least it'll help you understand. At Bajaj, our mission is very clear: to educate you. Sale will happen. Sale is incidental. Education is primary. So I think it'll really help us in that manner.
Yep. And after the entire planning from brands level, agencies and platforms like Samsung Ads and other similar platforms, right? What matters the most is the measurement to it. How are we measuring a particular campaign or the entire ecosystem in the right format? And what kind of measurement metrics do we have? And what more measurement metrics should we have in the ecosystem to make it even more robust? So I think, Saurabh, I would like to know your thoughts on this, and how can this be improved, and what do we have right now from a measurement standpoint?
Sure. I think to all the advertisers, brands and agencies I have been interacting with, right now they are not just looking for simple plain data. They are looking and they're demanding for crystal clear, actionable insights.
Yeah.
And I'll give you, there was one study by Group M which said that there were almost 17% of the impressions that were delivered or served on CTV, but those that at that point of time TV was off. So hence the measurement becomes really important to help the brands and agencies understand where their ads are being served. And second thing, it's not from just the perspective of viewability, attention, etc. It's also from the perspective of brand safety. CTV, like any other medium, does have high brand safety rates, but it's not safe from unsafe brand placements. I'll give an example. For example, let's say there's a CTV show, thriller show that you're watching, and there's an ad which talks about real estate or home rental, and it comes just right after a home break-in and a murder scene. It's pretty unsafe for the brand. So at IS, we are using the tech stack which analyzes the frame-by-frame analysis technology and helps brand understand and place their ads in a very safe and a suitable environment. Thirdly, coming from the perspective of fraud, again, CTV is also not fraud-free. There's obviously where the money goes, the unethical players and fraudsters do go there. Let me explain one of the types of CTV fraud, which is called device spoofing. So imagine there's a beautifully crafted ad created by agency which needs to be placed on a big screen, CTV screen. But instead of playing on a big screen, it's being played on a smaller mobile device or even a smartwatch or even a smart refrigerator, which is bad and ridiculous, but that's the truth of the industry. So therefore, the importance of measurement is ever increasing so that advertisers can take more smarter, bolder, and efficient decisions for their media.
Fair. And I'm going to just have a last point from Gaurav, which is more to do with from a publisher ecosystem. And what we have observed from many years, publishers have been noticed as a trendsetter. So in terms of generating the content, hosting the content, and how an ad placement in that particular content needs to be done from a brand safe environment and making an equal contribution in terms of understanding the user habit, right? So what are your thoughts about what kind of an ad placement on a larger screen needs to be placed and how it's to be placed on a particular content type? From a publisher standpoint, right?
So from a news standpoint, like majority of the monetization happens in-house and along with the partners like Prabhvir, right? In terms of the content, a lot of brands come to us for specific associations, right? From a news platform point of view, we cover international news to what's happening in Davos, to the budget, to Delhi elections, to Mahakumbh, right? And a lot of brands want to come to us from brand building perspective and wanting to associate with one particular property, right? Now, from that view, that same association, that same brand goes both platforms, or rather across all platforms, depending on the deals. But there is no reason why a brand would only look at, say, one medium versus the other, or only be on linear and not on CTV, right? Or only on CTV but not on linear, because effectively, as you know, Prabh was saying, it's largely the same unit. Still, from the bottom of the funnel point of view, when people are looking at mobile devices, that's different. But here, you know, top funnel, mid funnel works best. So, you know, in terms of our offering, we've got plethora of content where people can come and associate with us, and that goes across all platforms. Some content pieces or, you know, certain channels which are created specifically for CTV, that's a different ballgame altogether. That gives an advertiser a different audience to engage with in a certain market. So, you know.
But do you see the new channels which are engaged or which are formed up only for CTV are taken by the advertisers in the same way? Because linear TV has always been considered as building trust from advertising standpoint, right? Is it the same way on the newer channels as well?
See, that if you look at that business line perspective, it's right now a lot of repurposing and repackaging happening to create content for that platform. There's not additional or new production happening. And again, I think one of the panelists mentioned earlier, the moment you have monies pouring in, fresh content will obviously be a no-brainer. Wherever the money is, you'll have content, you'll have platform, you'll have buyers, you'll have sellers.
Fair. I think Prabhvir wants to say
There is
something.
old saying, revenue solves all problem.
I think this was truly insightful. Thank you, everyone, for being on this panel. And I think we can spend like 3-4 minutes in terms of
You
it.
have to ask the organizer, your time's up. And,
Yeah, exactly. So I just want to like have 3 minutes if somebody has a question from Prabhvir, Gaurav, Abhishek, Saurabh, and Vikram.
Well, we can take the question outside if that's okay with you, right? Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so
Offline
much.
questions in our online panel, not bad.
I think
WhatsApp
offline.
us.
Yeah, exactly.
But thank you so much, you know, the panelists, and it was,